The following is a world-class Bullshitters exclusive.
The first domino has fallen, and now The Mandalorian may be next. Here's a visual for effect. The Mandalorian was the best thing to come from Star Wars since the greedy corporate acquisition by our buddy Bob Iger. Since its debut, fans have been generally pleased with The Mandalorian, with some erupting into emotion by the end of Season 2. It was a time of hope for Star Wars fans. And then they did Gina Carano dirty, and here we are. Jamarams, geodes, and all. Jamarams! One of the first questions on fans' minds after What the Fuck was what's going to happen with Cara Dune. Are they going to recast her? Are they going to kill her off? All valid questions that we don't have answers for. Over the past week or so, I've been busy with my comic campaign on Indiegogo, so I haven't heard much news about the show. But then this little gem popped up, and I got to thinking. The Mandalorian is done. Let's get the new info, and I'll tell you why I think The Mandalorian isn't coming back for Season 3. The Mandalorian books have been cancelled. Are they scrubbing Cara Dune? A couple of previously announced books tying into The Mandalorian have been officially cancelled. As announced by publisher DK Books and Del Rey, both an original novel set in the world of the live-action Star Wars series, as well as The Mandalorian Ultimate Visual Guide, will no longer be published. The reasoning, as of this writing, has been left somewhat vague. Both publishers made the announcement on social media. DK Books initially shared the news about the Ultimate Visual Guide on Twitter, with Del Rey following suit almost immediately in regards to the untitled original novel. Both books had previously been announced by Lucasfilm as part of a larger publishing initiative tied to the Disney Plus series. DK Books said the following: "Due to the ever-expanding world of The Mandalorian, we will no longer be publishing the Mandalorian original novel at this time, as the story continues to unfold on screen. We love working with author Adam Christopher, and we're already working with him on another book. We're excited to share details with you in the future." Lucasfilm Story Group head Pablo Hidalgo has been set to write the Ultimate Story Guide. As for the Mandalorian original novel, Adam Christopher has been tapped for the project. Del Rey on Twitter made a similar statement, while explaining that they already are working with Christopher on another book. That means the book's cancellation has nothing to do with the author. Del Rey's statement reads as follows: "There's a lot of room for speculation here given some recent happenings in the Star Wars galaxy, namely the firing of Gina Carano as Cara Dune. The actor had been set to reprise the role in various future projects within the franchise, such as the spin-off Rangers of the New Republic, but Carano was fired over controversial statements made on social media. Officially, the cancellation of these books has nothing to do with Carano's firing, and since little has been revealed about either title, there is no evidence to suggest that's the case. It is easy to see where onlookers might begin to connect dots. Both statements do, however, mention the ever-expanding world of The Mandalorian. Disney and Lucasfilm have several shows including The Book of Boba Fett, Rangers of the New Republic, and Ahsoka, as well as The Mandalorian Season 3, all on the way. All of these shows take place in the same timeline, and it means that this corner of the Star Wars galaxy is going to get bigger. It seems these projects conflicted with Lucasfilm's larger plans." So books get cancelled all the time. Merchandise gets cancelled all the time. But when this is just another in a string of cancellations in the span of a few weeks, heads start to turn. Pre-Carano, The Mandalorian was the future of Star Wars. We documented the very public rebranding across the country. The disappointing sequel trilogy-era characters were quickly forgotten and replaced even faster. It's safe to say The Mandalorian was their headliner. No movie caught on like this. No video game or cartoon either. This wasn't just a show, this was Star Wars for a new generation. It was cool, and that's exactly what Star Wars needed. After years of this weirdo, we finally get some compelling Star Wars characters, and now they're gone. Yes, multiple. I don't have any insider sources, I'm not from the future, but based on some of the recent news surrounding the show, and some shady reporting, I'm not sure The Mandalorian is coming back. Before anyone jumps down into the comments section, my reasoning isn't based on the book cancellations. Yes, it's a part of it, but there's more, including news of delays that went under the radar because everyone was talking about Luke Skywalker. Back in December, news broke of some Mandalorian delays. At the time, it all seemed normal, like there was so much Star Wars that they needed more time to make it. But that may have not been the case. We were all so happy with Luke that we may have overlooked the first sign of the end for The Mandalorian. Let's take a look. The Mandalorian Season 3 is delayed, Dave Filoni confirmed to be writing Ahsoka. There's been so much Star Wars news recently that some stuff is falling through the cracks. Yesterday, Disney confirmed that the teased Book of Boba Fett after the Mandalorian season finale was indeed a separate project from the show, and that it was not replacing that show. Well, it is kind of, in a sense. Here's what I mean. Jon Favreau gave an interview on Good Morning America this week shortly after the announcement where he gave additional details about what's going on. This is the deal. The Book of Boba Fett is debuting December 2021. The Mandalorian Season 3 will not hit the usual date of fall, where Season 1 debuted in November and Season 2 debuted in October. Rather, Favreau confirms they will be doing pre-production when Boba Fett, he slipped and said Christmas, so it could be late December. and the production will start on The Mandalorian Season 3 after Fett is finished, so that means we will likely not see Mandalorian Season 3 until early spring, late spring, or potentially even early summer. As for why this is happening, that's not clear. There could be some filming production stuff going on with COVID that has pushed it back. There could just be so many different projects now that Favreau is working on that he needs more time. Or there could be something story-wise in the Book of Boba Fett that plays into The Mandalorian Season 3 that has to occur before we see new episodes. We still don't know if Boba Fett is meant to be a one-off limited series or something larger. Since they haven't said limited series, I would assume it's the latter. In short, The Mandalorian Season 3, starring our Mando, Pedro Pascal, does exist separately from Boba Fett, but it will be delayed past the usual year gap, and Boba Fett will take its spot as it begins production. All in all, just a ton of Star Wars content coming at you. You might just have to wait a little longer for more Mandalorian than you thought. Yeah, you might have to wait even longer. As I said a moment ago, when this dropped back in December, it seemed like a non-story. So what? You gotta wait for The Mandalorian. Well, at least Boba Fett's gonna take his place. Take his place? More on that in a moment. I came across some production information from The Mandalorian, but upon closer investigation, I found a few inconsistencies that bring up a whole slew of new questions. A new production listing for The Mandalorian Season 3 by the Film and Television Industry Alliance says filming begins on April 5th, 2021. We'd speculate that means we'll see Season 3 release in the first half of 2022. Some viewers worried that there would not be a third season of The Mandalorian and that the Book of Boba Fett would be taking its place, but that's not firmly the case. Favreau has confirmed that The Mandalorian Season 3 will follow the same main character and continue the story of Din Djarin. With the Book of Boba Fett officially arriving in December 2021, that makes The Mandalorian Season 3 release date dead cert for 2022. We'll update this as we know more. So that seems like a pretty basic article, so why should I be concerned? Well, it's all about the dates. The article from TechRadar that we just discussed was published on March 8th, 2 days ago. In it, it discusses a new production listing for The Mandalorian Season 3 by the Film and Television Industry Alliance. And with that nugget of information, the rest of the article operates as if it were true, except it's not. If you, click on the link that they give you, you see that yes, this is a real listing, and it was last updated on January 25th, 2021. What's the problem? Well, Gina Carano was fired on February 10th, and that changed everything. What I'm seeing here is TechRadar purposely passing off old information as new to spin a bullshit narrative. This isn't the first time they've pulled some general fuckery. I was trying to Google TechRadar, but one of the first suggestions was, is TechRadar reliable? So I clicked on it, and I found this. TechRadar has a 1.4 out of 5 star rating, and is generally hated. Users have all sorts of horrible things to say about them, but the consensus is, they suck. My favorite one is from a user who said, poor journalism in general, poorly researched product comparisons, often misleading features, or even well-known products. And some titles are clickbaity. Many pieces are just barely updated versions of pre-existing pieces, and with a triple dose of ads. Now I wanted to shine a little light on this comment because this is the biggest problem I have. This article, this is not accurate information about The Mandalorian. It's taking information that goes against what Jon Favreau says and is running with it like it's the official story. But of course, no one is going to correct TechRadar because they have the right opinions. They loved The Last Jedi. It's not uncommon for a show to be delayed indefinitely. There are countless other projects that are in pre-production and then poof, they disappear. It's so common that Star Wars has had more than 10 projects get the axe. We're constantly being told that the Rian Johnson trilogy is happening, but we've already talked about that ad nauseum. So I'd like to pull out a member berry and ask, remember the Benioff and Weiss trilogy that was going to get made and then got shit-canned after Game of Thrones Season 8 pulled an Amber Heard? Well, according to Screen Rant, before Solo: A Star Wars Story's box office failure forced Disney to be a little less cavalier with how many Star Wars movies they were cramming down the movie-going public's throats, Lucasfilm was developing a trilogy of Star Wars movies with Game of Thrones showrunners David Benioff and D.B. Weiss. Such a prospect was more exciting before Game of Thrones' rushed final season, disappointing fans across the world. But if that final season proved anything, it's that Benioff and Weiss are great adapters of source material. They're great at adapting full novels, but not at fleshing out a collection of notes that will one day be turned into a full novel. They could have adapted Star Wars novels from writers like Timothy Zahn or Alan Dean Foster. Well, Kathleen Kennedy said there's no novels, so no, they couldn't. Long story short, canceling Star Wars projects or making massive changes during production, Solo, is nothing new. Actually, it's the trend from Kathleen Kennedy's Star Wars. Anytime there is some behind-the-scenes issue, shows seem to just disappear, replaced by the announcement of 5 new shows. Remember all the announcements made back in December? We hear all about these new shows and then The Mandalorian gets pushed back. What was Favreau saying? They'll be doing pre-production when Boba Fett airs? That's a far cry from the April 25th date that TechRadar is running with. All of these people are acting like Han Solo when he's confronted over the intercom system on the Death Star. Situation normal my ass. This is not normal. Stop acting like all is well. Usually, it's the rats that abandon the ship first, but it's looking like they're going down with this ship. I guess those shill dollars must be pretty sweet. In closing, I don't think The Mandalorian will return for Season 3. First and foremost, Star Wars has had a bad habit of canceling projects. Using the Benioff and Weiss trilogy as an example of something that was confirmed and then discussed regularly, we see that even highly visible projects can get the axe. We know that projects can be in development for ages and still never get released. The Rian Johnson trilogy is the perfect example. It seems like anything announced with a floating window of release seems to get cut. As the Mandalorian production begins to be discussed, with similarly vague language in regards to start dates, I get the sense that Favreau and crew are getting moved to Boba Fett and Mandalorian will be retired. Canceling books is just another domino falling for the Mandalorian. They don't want a trace of its legacy out there. If they have their way, the Mandalorian will be as remembered as the Clone Wars movie. Barely at all. The Mandalorian may have proven to be beyond saving, so Lucasfilm is dumping the show, Kopechne style. Fans are pissed and they're never going to forget what happened. So Lucasfilm will act like the bad parent they are and take away everyone's favorite new toy. Hashtag, here's Ray. So folks, what do you think? Those are my thoughts. Based on what's out there, I don't think the show is going to come back. Why? Everyone's going to complain. Where's Gina Carano? Where's Cara Dune? And rightly so. I want to know the answers to those questions. Where's she at? You know the answer. Point is, though, Disney's not going to want to hear that. They're not going to want to deal with it. They'll just quietly move the show back. There'll be delays. There'll be other reasons. I'm sure the Rian Johnson trilogy will finally start production and we'll finally have a reason why The Mandalorian shouldn't be. You know what, folks? What's going to happen is once they get that solid start date on the Rian Johnson trilogy, they're just going to naturally cancel every Star Wars project because no one's going to care. Rian Johnson's going to have all the energy. He'll suck all the air out of the room. He'll suck something else too. But folks, thank you for watching. On the way out, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and comment. We've been told on good authority that it helps the channel doubly, so thank you for doing that. Also, while you're down there in the comment section, click the link and pick up the comic. It is live. You can get it. It's drawn by me, written by me, with a cover by Anna, that Star Wars girl, and it features all your favorite Fandom Menace creators. The link is in the description below, and that campaign will be live for a few more weeks. It just started, and we're already 75% of the way to our funding goal. And the more and more we grow, the more tiers and perks and bonuses everyone's going to get. So as it sits right now, everyone who has backed the book or currently will back the book gets a free Cecil the Hutt magnet. You can put it on your fridge, you can put it on your locker, you can put it in any metal surface you want. We're also only a handful of backers from our next magnet, which will be MechaRandom42, which you guys voted for over on Twitter. So follow the hashtag Stealing Solo on social media, find us, get a copy, and let everyone know that So find us, get yourself a copy, and tell everyone about it. We spend all this time talking about entertainment, so it's time to make our own. So folks, I'm going to get out of here. Join us tonight for the podcast. It's going to be a great episode as always. And come back next time for a new video. So in the meantime, folks, be smart, be safe, be cool. Always be excellent to each other.